I feel like I see a lot of messaging around skincare, and it's the whole like greenwashing. It's always plant-based, this, that, and the other. It's very vegan. It's very trendy and sexy in that way. And here you are talking about internally ingesting things like organically pasture-raised meats and vitamin A. And I've heard you talk in the past about raw milk and things like that. What's it like to just kind of push back a little bit against the prevailing narrative that healthy is purely plant-based, including our skincare and our diet?
Well, as you know, vegan is like the slogan on every skincare that you see anywhere, and we still have customers ask, is it vegan? And I was like, I think you've come to the wrong place. Um, but when we really started investigating, her skin and our health in general, before even skincare, we initially started with our food. And that's what made us question the narrative and want, something better for better health. And so, we really went down the rabbit hole of like selling everything we had, buying this farm and producing food, for both for our kids and for ourselves for health. And that was the very first step. We did GAPS diet with her
Hmm.
and focused very heavily on, a lot of broth and pasture raised meats and egg yolks and raw milk and all the things. And we saw obviously almost immediate relief just from that. But that last thing, when we added in the tallow externally, plus we were really nourishing her gut and her body internally as well as ourselves. That is, those two things together is what really was like that point where we were like, wow, we were seeing results. We were really excited. And I think that is when other people were like, what did you do? How, because they were seeing her skin and I was getting a lot of comments and opinions from everyone. They were like,
Hmm.
oh, well, maybe you should not feed her rice cereal. You should feed her oat cereal and all these things. And we kind of just bucked all of it. And we're like, we're going to go and nourish her body from the inside out as well as on the outside.
I love that perspective. And I think that something that speaks a lot through that message is it's a lot of the addition of nutrient dense products for the skin and for the microbiome. And it's a lot of the removal of the things that are causing the issues in the first place. And I love that you guys just went all in. You were like, all right, screw it. We're buying a farm. We're going for this thing. And it's usually the place where people start in health, right, is with the food because it's obviously such a big thing. But you said maybe that took you 80% of the way there or 90% of the way there. And then it was also nourishing the skin. So with that, when we're removing things that are problematic from a diet perspective, that might be the seed oils or the non-organic gluten-containing
Mhm.
grains, high fructose corn syrup, the whole rigmarole. What about the skincare aspect of that? What are we actually removing when we take away conventional products and then replacing it with things from Toups?
Well, so the EWG came out with a study and they said that the average woman puts 12 products with more than 168 chemicals on their body every morning. And this is the average woman.
Damn.
And many of those chemicals are hormone disrupting. So we think of this one-off, a perfume or something that is very obvious that it's toxic. But when you're putting all these things on your body, you're doing it 7 days a week. 365 days a year. And that toxic load over that long period of time and then over many years is really substantial. And so, I like people to think about the products that they're putting on their skin and look at the back of the ingredient list and really understand what those ingredients are and why they're in the products, and then compare them to something that is not full of all those ingredients. And it's an immediate adjustment in how you feel, especially in deodorant. People often ask me, like, if I could choose one product, like I just want to start really slow and I want to pick one product to change. First and foremost, I'll always say deodorant because one, it's directly next to our lymph nodes, both men and women. And because it's full of hormone disruptors, we've got prevalent cases of hormone-based cancers in women, like breast cancer and things like that. And we're putting toxic chemicals on our armpits every single day. And it's one of the things that if you're like not going to wear makeup today or you're not going to do your skincare, everybody's putting deodorant on every single day. That's one
Hmm.
of the things that you don't forget. And so I think it's one of the most important things to start if you're going to replace a product.
Yeah, I thought about that a lot because I grew up in Europe, and it's very common in Europe to have the spray the deodorants, and they're really high in aluminium, as we call it, and you guys call it aluminum, but they still have that in the roll-ons and the sticks and things like that. And just thinking about that now, knowing what I know, that you can put a nicotine patch on the skin and the nicotine will end up in your body, and you could do magnesium on your dermis and it will go into your body. Now, like, oh yeah, it's probably not a good idea to be leaching heavy metals into your skin and all these other things, the hormone disrupting chemicals, etc. Like, we've talked a lot about deodorant here and skincare, but I also want to focus on makeup because I want to know, like, just how bad is conventional makeup?
Conventional makeup is full of heavy metals and lead and a lot of things. And because it's so unregulated in the US and is a little more regulated in Europe, but still, when American companies say that, oh, we meet European standards, it's better. There's still not a lot of testing for some of these heavy metals that we're putting on our bodies every day, in our eyes, around our, in our mouth. I read a study, and I'm not recalling it exactly, but I want to say a woman who wears lipstick every single day has ingested like 12 pounds of lipstick over their lifetime.
Wow.
Or something like that. And when you at the lead content of the colorants and things that are in these products, and that we're ingesting that, our body can do a really good job of filtering that out. And there are some chemicals that are like transient chemicals that are in out when you're stopping using those products, those chemicals are gone. But there's a lot of things that are forever chemicals that are staying in our body over the long haul. And especially young girls are starting to use makeup younger and younger. There is so much pressure on them to look older, and then for older women to look younger. And so they're using more makeup than we did when we were younger, and definitely our parents. And so they're using more products and, exposed to even more toxins at even a younger age, especially when they're coming into their fertility years, and they're using phthalates, which are disrupting their hormones, and they're using makeup that's, has lead and other, heavy metals in it. And the body can only detox so much. Our detox pathways are amazing, and the human body is so amazing at, healing itself and regenerating. But when you pair a substandard diet with all of these chemicals that we're putting on our body every day, we're just seeing an epidemic of young girls who are struggling with hormone issues, who are struggling with fertility. And I just think that it's so sad. And, my mission at Toups and the mission of Toups itself is, first and foremost, to provide products that are clean and safe. But the second time is just to educate the public on, why even is that not safe, or why is it bad, or it's on the grocery store shelf and it's in all these stores, and so it can't be that bad. And that is kind of the general consensus. But when they realize that the makeup industry and the skincare industry is completely unregulated, and owning a skincare company, we are completely unregulated, and so we put certified organic products and ingredients in our products. And, but that doesn't mean the next person is. And, there's so much greenwashing, like the word vegan or the word non-toxic. And it's really hard to navigate, but education around flipping that product over and being able to read the ingredients, and, teaching our younger generation what to look for, what ingredients they want to see or don't want to see, is just so important, so that their future and their children can just have the knowledge to know that those products don't need to go in our body. They're not safe, because there's not a whole lot of education around that. And so they just don't know any better, especially like my daughter, as she started getting a little older and she's looking for a lip gloss or something. And I'm looking at the ingredients on here, and I'm just baffled or blown away by what's in the products and marketed to young children.